Okay, so this is one of the things that I want to talk about. In the thumbnail, that is my maid. And let me go ahead and tell you the story of how I actually got my maid. Years and years ago, I was living in Sandy Springs and I hit next door and I asked, did anyone have a maid? And then I got referred or recommended the first Brazilian. And actually her picture should be around here somewhere. And one of the things that I have noticed is, especially with immigrants, you would have a woman that looks like that who will clean a house and do a really, really good job. But you have Americans and American women and American men who will not do those jobs. And if they do them, they will half-ass do them. And this is one of the things that I'm seeing that's a big, big problem with America. When I was doing stuff in America, that's funny. When I had, let's call it, when I had low-level, low-wage jobs, when I had those, one of the things that would happen is I would do those jobs to the best of my ability. I know that I come from a different generation. I know that I come from a different mindset, but I would do things very, very differently in terms of doing the jobs. Years and years ago, I used to work at a place called Labor Ready. And they sent me on this job to this warehouse. And when I was working in this warehouse, I would do the best job. I actually, this is one of the things that's really funny. My educational background, I did go to college and I dropped out of college my junior year. So I was highly intelligent compared to the other labor ready people. So I would go in and I would do certain things and people would take notice and I would always do the best job to my ability. I don't, like this said, they sent me to work this warehouse. I went in and I figured out a better system than the one they had because I remember her name was Mrs. Dupree. And Mrs. Dupree comes out. All right, so what you should do is go below and get the money management course. The money management course contains all of the information that I have used to actually live the lifestyle that I live. I have 2 Porsches. I have this $50,000 Rolex. And at some point this year, I'll be paying cash for a house. So if you want to learn how to do that, go below, get into the money management course. Also, I'm doing something really, really special this month. It's something called the Art of Holding Credit Mastery. And if you go ahead and buy the money management course, I will give you a serious detail or discount on the Art of Holding. The Art of Holding is currently $3,000 and it's going to go up at the end of the month because it would be built out. So that's what we got going on. So let's get into more of this video. And she is like looking and she's, because what my system was, it was better, it was faster, and it kept orders and stuff. And Ms. Dupree came out and she says, you're gonna be coming back. This is an amazing job. The last few people we've had from that source, they didn't do a really good job. They would be asleep or they would be leaving or they'd be listening to the radio. Once again, thank you very much. And they kept me like 8 months. So, but with the average American, you would hear stuff like these evil, rich white men are trying to keep us broke. These evil, rich white men. Their goal is to keep us broke. Their goal is to keep us from getting paid. These jobs don't want to pay nothing. I have a very different thought process on jobs. Your job income is relative, like how easy you are to replace. The easier you are to replace, the lower your income will be. Take someone who's a brain surgeon. Brain surgeons are really, really hard to replace. It's a very specialized medical practice. So they make a lot of money. Certain plastic surgeons, they make a lot of money because they can do things that most people can't. But many people, I see that there's this thought process that I should be making a lot of money even though I'm unqualified. And this is backed up with about 80% of America makes between $31,000 and $40,000 per year. that is the average single person income. So you have that situation going on. So you have a lot of people who are sick and tired. And it's kind of funny. If we look at the baby boomers actually work these jobs and retire. And the baby boomers have the largest amount of wealth in America. The largest amount of wealth with housing, with pensions and retirements. We're talking trillions and trillions of dollars of wealth. And the baby boomers went to work every day in these jobs that literally the millennials, Generation X, whatever, they're just literally whining about. Now, one of the things that I see, and this is something that I actually got into it years ago with a guy. He was talking about, we're in McDonald's, and he told this girl, "You too pretty to be working here." And I said, "No, she ain't." That was my thought process, because once again, going back to my maid, she works hard. She does a really good job. She's married. And this is one of the situations that I consistently see from the immigrant side. Literally, I have seen Brazilians, I've seen Hispanics come in and do these regular jobs, do them very well, and they work hard and they're proud of their work. But the typical American wants to this is the typical American, and this is why it's not going to happen. The typical American wants to be making like $1 million a year, be working 4 hours a day, have plenty of free time, have plenty of free money. And I'm here to tell you that's complete and utter bullshit. When I was in the storage auction business, I consistently worked 12, 16 hours days. Consistent. This went on for years and years. And this is why I'm in a situation, because I'm going to tell you, because my value is high. I'm able to do things that most people can't do. And literally, I'll tell you my plan. Like right now, I have a 90-day plan. I'm in the gym. This is for me to become better. I get up in the mornings, I go for a walk for an hour, then I go have breakfast. And then later on in the day, I go to the gym for another hour. I'm on a 4-day schedule. Monday, gym, then the afternoon is legs, leg press, squats, calf raises. Then Tuesday, it's actually shoulders, back, and chest. And then Wednesday, I do arms. Then Thursday, I do legs again. And then Friday, I do chest again. I take the weekend off. So this is part of my, because essentially for me to get the body that I want, it's not going to come from wishing and hoping and it's just not. So I got to put in that work, because one of the things that I found to be really interesting, for many, many years, I only ate one meal a day. And what was happening was that I can tell, like today, I've been back working out in the gym. Let's see. I can actually tell you. I can actually go into my app and tell you when I started working out, because I took some time off. I didn't do anything, and working out February 1st, 2024. First workout in the 90-day process. And I've been literally working out 1 month. And today I was benching, and when I stopped, because this is the thing, in 2019, I had a heart attack. And before I had the heart attack, I was 290 pounds. I was benching 400 pounds. I was squatting 600 pounds. And my eating was very, very unhealthy. Even though I was working out, I think the working out is one of the reasons that I'm still here, because it made my body stronger in other aspects, even though I was eating trash. And the 90-day program, 30 days are out, and it was tough in the beginning, because when you don't work out, then you got to start off gradual. So now I'm in the second leg of the 90-day workout, and my goals are very, very different. I know that I probably will never have another 400-pound bench press. I do feel that I'll get to 315. I just have a feeling. And this is March. I might get to 315 this year because there's muscle memory. I've been there before. The muscle's been, but the thing is, the most that I will allow myself, once again, because it's the eating, to allow myself to get is 250s. I cannot get to 290. That's just too big. It was a lot of unhealthy eating. And where am I going with this? For me to get that body that I want, I got to put in the work. It's not going to happen from wishing. It's not going to happen from hoping. It's not going to happen from praying. It's not going to happen from the secret mindset. I literally got to get my ass out there, walk, take my ass in the gym, lift weights. And the day I was really, really strong because everything fell off. The most I was benching last time I was in the gym, which was 3 months ago, was like 270-ish. And now the most I can bench is I bench 185 for 2 very clean reps. Well, first rep was clean, second rep was shaky, but this month I'll be back to 225. I already know that because just the way that it's going, because now I'm starting to get in that groove where I'm starting to gain, and it's about doing the work. And I see so many people who just don't want to do the work. They just don't. They just seriously do not want to do the work. They don't want to actually set themselves up to be successful. They just really, really don't. So one of the things that you have to do, and this is one of the things we're going to talk about, because like I've renamed this channel, it's Glendon Cameron, and I'm just going to talk about any and everything that comes to mind and see what happens. And one of the things that I'm talking about is the American work ethic, which is pretty much trash in many regards. If you look at the guys in the NFL, these guys have incredible work ethics. They have to watch film, they have to practice, they have to train, they have to eat a certain way. And one of the things, and I was watching Steve Smith, and he said something that the workouts that a wide receiver would do should be very different than the workouts that a defensive lineman should do. And I 100% agree, because a defensive lineman needs to be doing heavy deadlifts, needs to be doing heavy squats, to have the leg power to drive people off the line. So there's a lot that's going on. But this whole thing with Americans and this whole thing of not actually doing the things that they need to do to be physically successful, because it goes back to work. And this is one of the things that I've preached for years and years and years. You got to do the work. And, you know, one of the things that happens is you have people who are coming on the internet who are saying that you can literally learn this 90-day skills. There's this thing called become the high ticket closer, right? It literally took me, I worked at Rent-A-Crate 8 months. I worked at Panel System 6 months. So that was 14 months. Then I worked at Business Environments for about 6-8 months. So that's 22 months. It took me 22 months of picking up the phone, and literally it took me 8 months of going to visit people, to pitch products, to sell office furniture, for me to become good at sales. But for some reason, there are people who are going to put you through a training course. And let me go ahead and tell you something. If you go to a training course on how to sell stuff, but you don't have anything to sell, it's going to be pretty hard when you're actually selling something. And this is one of the things that I will stand on. I consistently see people going through these sales courses, but they don't have nothing to sell. Because one of the things you're going to learn is your tempo, your sequence. You're going to learn how to communicate. There's things that just, you actually have to be selling something to be successful at learning how to sell. And this is one of the things that I find to be really interesting. Now, if you have sold for like 3 or 4 years and you take a break off and you get back into it, you'll be perfectly fine. But if you've never actually sold anything, if you've had a situation where you just were not selling, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, because this is my beliefs. For you to be successful in America, and you can be successful, you're looking at I used to say 3 to 5 year journey with technology, with training. You're looking at a 1 to 2 year journey and this is where you have to show up and do the work. You have to show up and do the work. So I'll share some with you. Like right now, if you don't know, I literally stepped away from YouTube for 2 months. People thought I was dead. People were making videos. People were going by where I used to live. People were trying to check up on me. And I just literally took some steps back. And I'm gonna explain to you why. The primary audience over at my main channel is there for disruptive male content. That's what they're there for. 90% of them. They're not there to learn how to get business credit. They're not there to learn how to start a business. They're not learning how to get money. And if anything that I say that doesn't involve that ethic, they're going to ignore. They'll be subscribed. And the way YouTube works is they send out your video to your subscriber base first. So if a bunch of your subscribers don't watch, your video is just going to suck in the YouTube system. And this is like literally, I started a new YouTube channel, Personal Capital. It was going well. I was building out the audience I want. They found it, they subscribed. And when I'm sitting there talking about business, holding companies and stuff, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to be successful. They don't want to be real successful men. And I'm going to say something. I don't know if I'm gonna even address the manosphere. Parts of me think I will, I don't know. But I've had women live with me and I never charged them rent. You know why? Because I feel, once again, personal opinions, if you're the man of the relationship, you should protect and provide. That's my opinion. And this is one of the reasons that I have never had a problem having a girlfriend. Remember when the internet was trying to cancel Glendon Cameron? And you know what I got? I got all kinds of calls from women I used to date, and they were saying, that's not you. People who actually knew me, people who had had sexual experiences with me were saying, that's not you. These people are crazy. I remember one girl, she's like, you're nothing like that. But once again, and I'm going to say this, the majority of those people who were making these trash videos about me are stupid, low expectations, low incomes. Now, there were a few people who made the videos and they purposely slanted the narrative because, rest in peace, Alan Roger Curry. Alan Roger Curry put up a video saying, I didn't break the law, I didn't do anything. But once again, Alan was an educated person, he was an honest person. And you have a lot of low intellect, low activity, low action people who want to be rich. And one of the things that these low people would do was they would attack my Porsche. And they was like, oh yeah, you got a nice house. That's how you get those little girls. Here's the thing. When I was doing the Craigslist protocols, the majority of those girls that I did not date had no clue what I was driving. They had no clue whatsoever. And they came to my house and they fucked me. And that's why literally all of these folks are lined up on the main channel because they want that content. But let me go ahead and share some with you. How did I get so good at writing that I could write a piece, get a woman to come to my house, drop her pants, and fuck the shit out of me? Because I was a writer. I wrote money in this upscale garage sale, Craigslist protocols to get money. I wrote the Craigslist protocols has 2 versions. And the first version was to get money selling bedroom sets, washers, dryers, whatever we had. And then the second protocols was to get me some pussy. And then I wrote that. So my writing skills have made me money. My writing skills have gotten me pussy. And my writing skills have made me $1.6 million from my first digital products, making money A to Z with self-storage and auctions. So I have skills as a writer, bar none. And a lot of these people, you have no skills because, once again, going back to the tenant that my maid, I think she's drop dead gorgeous. And she does a really good job. She works hard. And you have many people in America who just will not work that hard. They will half-ass do the job. And this is a big problem because Literally, I'm seeing a bunch of people who want to be rich and have money, and they're seduced by these articles like, I work 4 hours a day and I make $300,000 a year. And it's kind of crazy when you see these advertisements. They're advertisements to get you to read their articles, and then you go read the article and you find out in the beginning they were not working 4 hours a day. They were working like 12. And this is one of the things. And let me go ahead and just share some with you. My new strategy, because once again, I took 2 months away from YouTube. I actually had something I was selling. I refunded everyone their money. And I just sat back and thought. I stopped working out, and I just thought and thought and thought, and I came up with this new strategy. And I'm going to share it with you. This new strategy this year is going to get me up to $1 million a month. Possibly, well, more than likely more. And once I get that, I got another strategy behind that. But where did all this come from? I will sit here and do the work. I have a blog that I started, and I got to write the blog. And the blog, I started in 2017. There's a lot of older content there. I just left that up, and I'm going to add the new content on top of that. But I got to sit here and write these articles. I have to sit here and produce this content. And it's just not going to happen. And with AI is good up to a point, but AI is not going to replace traditional writers. Not this version of AI. Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the future, maybe. But right now, this current level of AI is not going to replace or reduce the amount of work that human content creative writers can do. It's just not. And once again, if you want to be very successful in life, you must be educated and you must do the work. And this is one of the things that I'm consistently just not seeing in the mindset and in the paragraph and in the potential thought process of a lot of people. I'm just not seeing that breakdown. I'm just not seeing it. So if you want to be successful, if you want to make a lot of money, it's possible, especially today, especially with artificial intelligence, especially with the training courses. And I'm about to go ahead and tell you, I have a lot of people who give me shit because I create online courses. And they're like, well, I should just create an online course. I can put it out there and make that easy money. And I dare you. Because, I've made millions of dollars from my online course. But the thing is, there's a sequence, there's a process. You just can't put it out there and expect to make a lot of money. There's things you have to do. And if you want to make an online course, I dare you. I freaking dare you to make an online course. I dare you to do the work, because you can make the course, then you go try to sell it. And all of a sudden it's going to be crickets. It's just going to be crickets. So right now, one of the things I'm seeing is, and I've seen some videos that I thought were foolish. Like, a lot of women want a man who makes 100K, and they think 40% of the men in America make 100K. That's the top 10% of America. Top 10% of America makes 100K or more. And then when you get to $500,000 a year, that goes down to 2%. It goes down from 10% down to 2 to 1%. And it's really, really different. I'm in the 1% income wise, even though I've not made money since July of last year. Let me go ahead and explain to you. I've activated the 90-day. Well, this is the first cycle of 90 days. And then after that, we're going to have another 90-day set of protocols. I will make more money in 90 days than the average person will make 10, 15 years. So, but how did I get there? Work, 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 work. When I wrote my first book, I sat at the table, I wrote the book. Started the YouTube channel in 2009. I put out YouTube videos. You actually have to show up. You have to show up. If you refuse to show up, you're just going to be what I call one of these miserable men. And this is something else too. I may do some more research on this. I have heard that 40% of the men under 30 are not having sex on a regular basis. That kind of blew my mind. It blew my mind. But once again, people don't want to get active. People don't want to approach women. I was out the other day and there was this girl, really, really attractive. And I just went up to her and I said, you know what? You probably get this all the time, but I was like, you are so fucking attractive. It's ridiculous. You're like stinky cute. And she said, I'm stinky cute? And she started giggling. And I'm just sitting there like, it's too easy to get women. But once again, men don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the activity. They don't want to actually put them in the position for them to be successful. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it. So with a lot of the things that are coming, for a lot of the things that I'm getting to set up, it's going to be really, really interesting because right now I have one thing that's in development, Instagram thing in development, another thing in development, Hustlers Kung Fu in development. Then there's two more things that are going to break for you this year, probably, I would say next month in May, these other two things. So at one point I'm gonna have 5 products out here for sale. And oh yeah, I've got Hustler Kung Fu Drip, the clothing line. I got someone working on some other stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Now I'm telling you this, I got like the first thing, the second thing, the Instagram thing, the other thing, the Hustlers Kung Fu, then 2 more. So we're talking about actually 7 programs, maybe 8, for me to get to that $1 million a month. I understand how business works. I understand how you generate money. And, you know, once I go ahead and have the proof that I made $1 million in a month, then we're going to actually move on to something much, much higher. But once we get to that point, I'll talk about it. So what are your thoughts and considerations of me having a drop gorgeous, beautiful maid from another country? And what are your thoughts of, you know, I don't know where I'm going to go with this channel, but this is just the first video. So let me know your thoughts and opinions, and I will see you guys in the next one.